Think back, Mr. Rivers, the early and mid-2000s were largely a wasteland for Alabama football. It got so bad there for a second that coaches were being fired without even coaching an actual game. In late 2006, after losing a fifth consecutive Iron Bowl to Auburn, Bama relieved Mike Shula of his duties, and it seemed like no one wanted an Alabama job once revered as the standard by which all other college football jobs were measured. But then what happened, Mr. Rivers?
January 3rd, 2007.
Oh God, we love him! Yeah, we ballin', baby, we ballin'.
And they were off and running.
She was a prophet, wasn't she?
She was. She was a prophet. P-R-O-F-I-T.
And the reason I say this is because I know that Derrick Henry, in my mind, is the third best running back in this conference, behind Fournette and Chubb. And it's not a wide gap. I think to me, he's the smoothest 6'2", 6'3", 240-pound runner I've ever seen. And when you look at Kenyon Drake, some people say this whole, thunder and lightning type deal, but you can't prepare for a running back tandem with Kenyon Drake when he can put you out wide, and sometimes you have to take your best corner just to cover him.
But it's wait and see, because I listened to Nick Saban today at his press conference talk about Ardarius Stewart, saying, paraphrasing here, that's the guy that's really going to have to step up and probably be the number one for this unit. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, where's Robert Foster?
Yeah.
Why is Robert Foster not being mentioned here? Now, Nick Saban knows. I don't know the reason yet. Mr. Rivers, I want to take you back to 1983. The world, as we know it, kind of changed forever. It changed when the members of the band Kiss, they teamed up with MTV, a very young MTV at that point, for a special titled Kiss Unmasked. It was groundbreaking television, Mr. Rivers. I'm sure you remember it well. Nobody had ever seen these guys without their face paint on until basically this moment, and it's a big deal when you finally can put a genuine face to a voice you've heard for so long. For the die-hard J.C. Shurburtt fans in our audience, or as they like to call themselves, Shurbies. Tonight is that night. So live in the Fort Benning Golf Course Guest Lounge, here he is, national analyst for 247 Sports, J.C. Shurburtt. You've heard the voice. Let's take a look at the face, Matt. Look at that. How does it feel? What does it feel like, JC?
But yeah, it's nice to give a shout out to all the Shurbies out there, and great to join you face to face.
You were high, JC, early on with Tennessee. We were as well. They're a top 10 team in the JP poll. Now the national guys starting to hop aboard. I saw Herb Street pick them to win the East. When people ask you, why are you so high on Tennessee, what do you tell them?
Well, quite frankly, it's the way they've recruited. Butch Jones and his staff have put together not only classes that had a lot of hype, but classes full of guys that could actually play here. Given that Josh Dobbs is the full-time starter, given that the offensive line is a year older, given their existing talent at receiver, then you add an X factor to an already pretty good running back core led by Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara. All of a sudden, there's enough weapons to move the ball.
I saw your guy over at 247 Sports, Ryan Bartow, earlier today claimed that he continues to say he expects David Cornwell and not Jacob Coker to be the guy game one starter at quarterback for Alabama against Wisconsin. Is that something that you're buying into?
Well, I am buying into it. I do think they're going to give Jacob Coker every opportunity to win the job, but at some point, if you have to go with the more talented guy, you have to go with the more talented guy, and I think that based on everything that I've heard, Cornwell's probably the more talented guy, and the blend of talent versus experience. You don't want to throw Blake Barnett out there to the Wolves as a true freshman. Cornwell's a guy that's going to remind you of maybe a Patrick Tolles meets Ben Roethlisberger type of quarterback.
What Phil Collins was to Genesis, he is to 247 Sports. J.C. Shurburtt, check out his work, 247sports.com. J.C., be good. I think I speak for everyone here when I say it was good to see you this week, sir. So, listening to the press box earlier today, our pals from 95.7, 1580 The Zone, Bobby Z, and Buckets over there. Name's Jonathan, but it's a name, quite frankly, I get tired of saying.
It's a great name.
So I just say Buckets.
Just excited. I'm very excited to see how the season plays out this year.
I walked outside today. I know that you don't know what a dew point is, but the dew point was much lower today. And so you still had the heat. You had the heat outside, but you didn't have the humidity outside.
Right.
And it had that feel, although it was still in the 90s today, that's the college football feel. That's what it ends up feeling like in September.